Good morning, everybody. I'm coming to you live from London for a breakfast chat to say hello, to connect to my community, and to say a big thank you for 500 subscribers this morning to my YouTube channel. I started this journey of promoting my YouTube channel a bit about 10 weeks ago. The support I'm getting just makes me feel a bit emotional. I'm very grateful and I'm excited about the contribution that I'm trying to make. I'm trying to help people right now who want to start a business do just that. And at the same time, I'm trying to be here for anyone that might be, I guess, struggling with the coronavirus as a business and its impact on your business, and trying my very best to be here to help, to support. And I'm trying a few different things to connect with people. Of course, I'm still doing my regular mentor sessions direct with startup founders and entrepreneurs. I've started talking to university kids who are a bit worried they can't find a job, so I've been connecting with a few students about maybe instead of finding a job, you can start a business of your own. I've been mixing up the times, but I'm going to start broadcasting at 8 AM every day, London time, and see if this time is useful for people when they start at the start of their day to get a bit of motivation, get a bit of an insight. So I'm going to be online trying my very best to help people in any way I can. So that's the plan. I sent a message out to my group this morning just saying anyone that wants to come and talk to me on Zoom, they can. So I'm just going to log into that and see what is going on. So for anyone that's listening to this broadcast later, if you have any ideas for businesses and you want my help to get them going, or you don't have an idea and you want to brainstorm ideas, or you have started a business that's not quite working, then feel free to reach out to me and I'll do my best to help in any way I can. So let me just see what's going on here. So it's very exciting. I just topped 15,000 connections on LinkedIn and over 10,000 fans on my Facebook page now, and 500 subscribers on YouTube, and 7,000 people have signed up to my mailing list. So I'm pretty excited that the community is building, and I'm basically trying to do one simple thing, which is help entrepreneurs, and I'm trying to do that by bringing on my community, people I've worked with over the last 30 years, to help founders and potential entrepreneurs, as well as, of course, leverage my own experience and knowledge to help folks. So now I'm doing the work at home thing. I'm still in my sleeping shorts. Ta-da! So, it's the nice thing about working from home. It's all pretty easy. Now let's see what's happening. Good morning everybody. How's it going? Okay, let's see. Someone is here. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. How's it going? Morning, George. Everybody. How are you, buddy? Can you hear me? Getting the technical difficulties sorted out. I can't hear you, George. I can see you, but I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Oh.
There you are.
Woohoo! Nice rocks.
What rocks? Oh, these rocks.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just wanted to give it, some atmosphere.
Right. You have got a bit of an atmosphere going on. You framed this a bit, haven't you? You've got nice flowers here.
Well, so did you. Look, you've got art.
I've got art, a dog.
You've got palms.
And trees.
And probably better audio.
Well, it's not better. Let's just call it different. You've even got perspective. You're kind of like you're sat at the table. You've got distance.
Well, hey, listen. I want to ask you. Now I know that you have a particular taste for coffee.
I do.
And I wanted to ask you, in this lockdown, have you had to learn how to make your own coffee? Because you never made your own coffee. I think when I came to visit you, I don't even think you had coffee in the house. And you've always been drinking coffee outside, but now you're making it yourself. Is that right?
You know what, man? This lockdown, it teaches you to be self-sufficient. And so now I have coffee. I'm going to show you my coffee machine. That's how. Sorry, YouTube folks. I'll be back in a sec. Look at this, look. It's serious, man. And you can make nice steamed milk. Are you impressed?
I am impressed.
Now all I've got to do is learn to milk a cow. Or, even better than that, learn to milk some oats.
Right. Well, I'm a black coffee man myself.
Right.
Do you want to see my coffee machine?
Please. That would make my day. Whoa, nice bird in the background. No, an actual bird. I need to figure out how to. Wait. I don't know.
Hello.
Hello, George. Welcome back. Technical difficulties. That looks like a lovely coffee mug. Look,
Hi, Aiden.
Who's that?
Uncle George.
Yes, it's Uncle George. Yes, everybody's an uncle. And we are reading, George. What do people do all day? This is entertainment. And so it turns out that everybody has a job or a role. They don't talk enough about unemployment in this book. There's nobody unemployed. They're all doing something. It was written in the 60s, so everybody's doing something that the rich people want you to do. Like drive a bus, or drive a taxi, or cut up my meat. Thank you. Or drive my boat.
Well, that looks like a fun book, and if it's a classic, I'm sure it's really entertaining.
Yes, well, Aidan, why don't you tell the story? What do people do all day?
What do people do? Oh, Daddy.
What do people do all daddy? Yes, some people are daddies, aren't they? What's going on? Tell George the story. What are people doing all day?
What do people do all day? They want daddy there, and one 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 daddy.
I think George needs more entertainment than this. I've got a feeling.
I'm just, I'm into it. I wanted to ask you, what is the purpose of these calls? What are you aiming to?
I think basically I'm testing things out as far as leveraging technology to reach people. So yeah, I am. I'm basically just seeing if there's people out there that I'm connected to on social media that want a real life connection and to say hello and see if I can help them. So it's just testing out. I guess you've got all these contacts on Facebook, for example, and I'm thinking of purging some of them because I don't know who they are really, some of them. Maybe. And I thought I would, before deleting people, just reach out and say, hey, come and have a chat. See if there's anybody I know, or make a relationship with anyone that I don't know.
Right.
But my primary thing at the moment is I want to help anyone out there that's thinking of starting a business, start a business. So I kind of want to be available for an hour a day just to see if there's any. I'm just trying it to see if there's anybody out there. While I'm hanging out with Aidan, having breakfast, just chat to people and see if they need anything. I don't know who's calling me. Hello.
Right.
Hello.
Hi, it's Nigel.
Oh, hi Nigel. How you doing?
I'm trying to get onto this new thing, but I can't find the link anywhere.
All right, mate. I'll send you the link now.
Okay, so next time I'll have to look better. I don't know where to find it.
No problem, mate. I'll send you the link now.
Thank you.
Right. So this guy's really interesting. He basically, the guy that just called me, can't for whatever reason find the link. Maybe my messages are too long. But he is a film director.
Oh, really?
And he made the documentary Formula One. Have you seen it on Netflix?
No.
It's like one of the most popular things on Netflix. And
I've just watched the documentary by Michael Moore called Planet of the Human. It is it's really powerful.
Oh yeah.
And it's all about discrediting. It's basically discrediting the likes of Elon Musk and the renewable energy movement.
Okay.
And it's absolutely brilliant. It's a must watch.
Huh.
It's quite disturbing as well because we've all been sold this line, and I've been studying this for quite some time. Obviously, being in the line of work that I'm in, I've been studying a lot about the truth of renewable energy, and the unfortunate truth, the inconvenient truth, if you like, is that renewable energy is not renewable, and the faster we wrap our heads around that, the faster we can start making shifts in society to avert well, at this point I'm not sure that we can avert potential catastrophe. So but a brilliant documentary. I really highly recommend it. Blew me away. I was left absolutely gobsmacked by some of the revelations. As I said, some of them I already had studied, like the truth behind wind farms, the truth behind solar farms, the amount of energy needed to make solar panels, just the general unsustainable nature of the whole industry. But it really tears the lid off, and it goes quite deep, and it gives a lot of detail, and it interviews some of the leading ecologists and scientists in this movement around the world, such as I think Richard Heidelberg, people who have been really on the forefront of concepts like powering down for the long term, and that's been very interesting.
I haven't actually seen that Michael Moore documentary. I'm a big fan of Michael Moore. I always like Fahrenheit 9/11, and then he did a thing called Sicko. Have you seen that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I've seen most of his films. I think he's quite brilliant. I mean, obviously he's a bit polarizing and occasionally steps in a bit sensationalist, but the most of what he says is pretty strong.
I'll have to watch that one. Hey Nigel, welcome.
Hello. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Not bad, thank you. Not bad. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, it's nice to see. It's nice to see your pad. That's your new home, as it were.
Well, it's the office at the end of the garden. I've hidden it. You know what they say about Zoom meetings?
No.
You hide the stuff you don't want people to see.
Oh really? Still unpacking stuff, huh?
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes. That's George. Nigel. This is my friend George.
Look, it's even worse out there.
Oh my gosh. What is going on?
That's the garden. It didn't get finished.
Wow.
You see, we moved just at the right time when the builders had done 90% of the work,
Right.
but not 100% of the work.
But the house was livable. It's just.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. Okay. So yeah, George is a long-term friend. I've known George 20 years. George used to date my wife.
It's true. I used to date her wife, his wife.
His wife.
Is that a real bird in the background, by the way? I mean, like a Tweety bird in the background, George. That's really weird. Because it's moved.
This.
Yeah.
This.
Yes.
No. These birds are are stuck on the window to stop birds flying into the window.
Right. Okay.
Where are you, George?
That's a serious problem with bird death.
Right.
Yeah.
Where are you, George?
I'm in Portugal.
Ah.
I'm in Portugal, where things are very stable, and pleased. I feel extraordinarily lucky to be here.
You should work for the Tourism Board of Portugal, George. You'd be like, and everyone will get in their camper vans and drive across from England to Portugal. You'll be inundated with people in camper vans looking for refuge.
Well, look, I mean, what am I? I'm 4 or 5 hours drive from. I'm about 5 hours drive from Madrid, and Madrid, is in really, really big trouble. And in the whole country of Portugal, we're coming in with about 30 deaths a day. So, on a population of about 10 million, which is the same as the population of Sweden, and Sweden, I think yesterday, logged something like 180. So I don't know enough about Portuguese politics to say, well, I think this is a great government or anything like that. But I would say that they did a pretty storming job in closing the borders, and also the populace really took this on board, and they put themselves in their homes, really fast. So yeah, I mean, fingers crossed. I mean, we're now saying, the next 2 weeks are absolutely critical. But yeah, I couldn't feel more lucky given the circumstances. Yeah.
I'm just round the corner from Simon.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so we're fucked basically. So yeah, thanks George. We're likely to die in our homes.
Sorry, guys.
It's okay. You go and enjoy your horse riding on the beach. We'll huddle under a kitchen table and hope for the best.
No. Everything's banned. Horse riding's banned. Surfing's banned. Everything's banned. You're not allowed to go to the beach. Everything's banned.
Right.
So.
I started cycling again anyway, around Parliament Hill. If I can make it up to the top of Highgate Hill, I've done well. So every day, that's my goal.
What are you riding?
In terms of the bicycle,
yeah.
I can't remember. I think it's
that's a very strange question, Nigel. Just that, in terms of the bicycle.
I'm a cycler. I'm not a cyclist. If you see what I mean.
Right.
But is it a?
I cycle.
Is it a is it a racing bike or a?
No, it's got flat handlebars.
Okay, so it's like a city bike.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like I said, I know nothing about the bikes and my equipment. It's strange. It is a definition. You're either a cyclist or a cycler.
Right.
And a cycler is a person who uses a bicycle to get around. And a cyclist is who knows about bikes. It's like if you like dance or dancing. Have you heard those definitions? If you like film, you're into the art of film. If you like films, you like watching films. If you like dance, you're into it as an art form. If you like dancing, you like watching or doing it. It's my definition of it.
Wow, I've got to write this stuff down when you speak, Nigel. I always feel like I should be documenting it. I think I am recording this actually, so this I have a record of the point. I play back and remind myself when I start saying I like to dance, what that actually means.
Yeah, you like dancing is what you mean. Anyway.
How long have you guys been in lockdown now?
When was it? 3 weeks? It's been a long, feels like forever.
3 weeks. So we've been in some form of self-isolation since the beginning of March. I'm wondering if you have had particular insights or things that have come up that you're like, oh, that's something I didn't expect, it may not necessarily be a negative thing, it could be a very positive thing. I'm just wondering if there's something that's come up. For me, in the first earlier stages of self-isolation or lockdown or whatever you want to call it, I went through quite a severe amount of anxiety, and that's given way to a lot of levity and just some general awareness of an unusual kind of feeling of freedom in this situation. I just wondered if anyone else has had any sort of similar feelings.
Well, I was more anxious before, actually. Before the lockdown. And it's kind of like, because this is so big, it's too big to worry about. I used to be worrying about, earning quite enough money to do all the things I wanted to do, but now I'm earning no money. So the kind of concept of earning enough money has kind of completely disappeared. How am I going to live on no money whatsoever? I've also learned how much money I spent doing stuff I'm not missing in a way, or how you could survive. How much money I was wasting, I think it is. Certainly, if all you're paying for is food, you spend far less every week. So
I'm just writing some of this down, if you don't mind. So
no, it's all right.
Wow.
And I have started a business. You'll be proud of me, Simon. I've actually been starting a business.
Oh really? What's the business?
This teaching thing. You know the teaching thing I do sometimes.
Right. Yeah, the storytelling.
Yeah, exactly. I've kind of bought a domain name for it at last, and I've built a website for it.
Oh wow, okay.
And I'm kind of just, working out. Still, I haven't launched a website, but every day it gets written and filled out, and I've, worked out how to have, landing pages and email sign-ups and subscriptions and how you funnel people and all those things, so it's been very useful because it's a skill. It's like, Dan, it's George, isn't it? Like a couple of months ago, a year ago, I taught for 2 days. And I spent 2 weeks developing a seminar, and I taught it for 2 days, and it was fantastic. And because of other commitments, I never followed it up. But it was, the people who did it loved it. They paid a lot of money for it, and I never did anything with it. Which is kind of like, I just did other stuff. But then I've kind of realised it's crazy to have this. I've looked at people who are going online to try and sell. They're looking for something to sell. And I've got this thing I have sold, but I'm not selling. So it's kind of packaging up this thing that I do anyway. So I don't have to create anything, a product. It's all it's all there. So I'm just learning the technology now. So that's really, I don't think I would have done that had I been working.
that's really interesting. So, and this obviously enables you to spend more time at home.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
I mean, I worked a lot at home anyway. That kind of aspect of it isn't really. I'm very local, you know.
Right.
And you know,
Simon mentioned that you made documentaries.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I do a lot of writing too. The past couple of years, I kind of went into more writing to be at home more. My son was just leading into his exam period, which has now been abandoned. So I made a promise to kind of not go away as much. So I was doing a lot more writing and writing.
So what kind of writing was this? Is this? I mean, there's also. I mean, is this online in journals?
Like Netflix series and things, big TV series.
Wow.
You know, kind of series editing, like editorial, in charge of editorial. You know the Formula One. Did you ever see the Formula One Netflix series?
Okay, guys. So basically, here, this is what's interesting. But just to interrupt.
This is brilliant.
This is
That
some
was
guy.
my son for.
I've got
My
to
son
figure.
at 8.
I've got to figure out how to block. Some people come on and you just. I'm still figuring it all out. They just do weird things, and I don't know why they bother. But this is like a.
How did he actually find you when I couldn't find you and wanted to be on it?
How do I get rid of you, whoever you are? There we go.
That's red. You should see a doctor.
The thing is, I actually, because I'm learning, you asked me, George, what I'm learning. I think I'm learning all sorts of, I'm trying out all sorts of different things like this Zoom thing.
Is it D-Snuts?
Is it? That's it, is it? Oh, I got rid of the wrong person. Sorry, I just removed the wrong person.
I have to say, Simon, you made a bit of a cock up of this.
Yeah. It's, I had this the other day too. I still can't get rid of him. How do I get rid of this person?
He'll get bored soon.
No, I don't think he's going to get bored. He looks like the sort of person that this is what he does for a living, probably. But I thought I got rid of them, but for some reason they're still there, aren't they? So this is the fun thing. I actually don't know how to.
Hey!
Gone. The dick has gone. The real dicks are still here. Boom. I actually just blocked someone who wasn't doing anything wrong. I just realised that John wanted to join. But that you know.
So I want to go back to. I'm sorry. What's the? I can't remember your name.
Nigel, you mean?
Nigel.
Yeah.
Nigel, I'm a budding writer. I was wondering, what would you say are some of your key pieces of advice? So one piece of advice, for example, I've heard in the past was, when you're writing something, imagine who you're writing it for. Have you got any sort of nuggets like that you can throw out?
Goodness. I don't really do nuggets. You should sign up to this extremely complex course I'm running. Yeah, you absolutely should know who you're writing for, 100%. Yeah. But in a way that's really hard to explain in a short, in a small moment. It's about, you have to understand what your audience are after, but in quite a profound way, I mean, I kind of structure, the big thing I do is kind of, whenever I start a project, it's what do I want them to feel? So it's about controlling the emotional response of your audience. And it's structuring and designing big stories to have a particular type of impact. So it's quite complex. What I did, because these are big series, these are kind of like, I did big Formula One series for Netflix, and I worked on one about football as well. And you've got this huge amount of material, like 8 hours, and you want it to make it feel original and meaningful. So it's kind of designing, looking at your material and making it meaningful for your audience, which is a very big thing. So no, it's kind of not about, funny enough, it's not about little nuggets. That's what I was kind of doing when I was designing the course. It's about people structurally understanding what story means. So it's on a much bigger level about why we tell stories. And then from that, you design a story. And then when you've got your structure working, then you can just have fun using storytelling techniques, It's complicated. But yeah, do you think about your audience is the answer. Yeah, absolutely, that's a good one.
I relate to it a lot, Nigel. Nigel's a new friend for me, George. So actually, it's really nice for me to see two very nice people. One I've known for 20 years, and one I've got as a new friend connecting like this. And actually, it's nice. It's nice for that to happen. But one thing Nigel's saying that kind of resonates with me around. It's the same with entrepreneurship. There's no such thing as nuggets, little businesses. Really, it's like, why are you doing that business? The whole story matters. Who are you doing that business for? I feel that, you know, maybe making things the way Nigel does, there's a similarity in my view to like how you build a business. You know, like what's the emotional thing you're trying to achieve? The other side, you know, who's your target group, sort of thing.
How about, George, if you want to go on LinkedIn and look at Nigel Levy, or I'm a friend of Simon, I've written articles. Although I'm useless at finding anything on LinkedIn, hence I couldn't even find Simon's invitation, so good luck, because I have no idea how the search thing works. But anyway, if you link into me, I wrote like 3 or 4 blog posts about story. Just to kind of, you'll be interested in this, Simon. I was reading a business book called You Ask, We Answer. Do you know that one?
No.
And it was really interesting. It was saying how to be a thought leader. And it's about total honesty when you are selling your thing, everything you do. So you kind of, so on your website, you should be honestly answering all the questions people are asking about it. Like, is it worth it? And how much does it cost? Do you know, if you've ever been on a website and they're hiding the cost?
Yes.
Why are they hiding the cost? I have no idea. I'm just going to leave. It's like, what are you scared of? Are you scared to tell me? Or do I have to go through certain steps before you'll reveal the cost?
That's a very similar. That's a very similar thing to something I was discussing with my wife yesterday, which is about like ethical business. And one of the things that was interesting is like, you know, just kind of being honest. So people will say, you know, it's £1.99 instead of £2. You know, as if that's going to trick you, as if tricking you into being a customer is the way to build a relationship. You know, and it's just I'm just sick of it. It's all, like, everyone does it. It's like the norm now, isn't it? You know, like it's £5.99. Well, you know, just it's £6. That's fine. You know, like, and then I can make try to trick my brain into thinking that's a reasonable price. You know, like. If you're going to charge £200 and charge £200, don't say to me the first one's free, you know, and then after that we'll talk. It's like, you know, just
well, there's another thing, you know, on the website I'm going to have to put, you know, Q&A things, like it's what people are actually thinking, like, is it going to be worth me spending this money?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
We'll answer that question on the website.
Yeah. Exactly,
am I going to make money doing this?
Yeah. Is it going to be a waste of my time, you know, like I won't know till I'm in, sort of thing. So just tell me, is it suitable for me? Honesty in business is actually something I think that needs to happen more. I feel like there's been so much spin given in business now about how, you know, like funnel marketing is a good example for me on that. You know, like this is how you trick people to get on your database, so then you can sell them stuff, and then you upsell them over time, and then you make them broke and you're rich. You know, like it's like. Whatever happened to just like being honest and here's what I've got to offer, this is its value, you know, if you want it, fine, if you don't, that's also fine, you know, like this whole like funnel marketing trick. And here's my son, he's learning from me, he's now doing his own little video. What's happening? Oh, sorry, are you doing video? Are you doing a video? Oh, and then my dog now is starting to growl at my son. Starting to growl at Aiden a little bit.
So guys, I've got some things on my mind.
Okay, go on then, George. We're here.
So one of the things that I've been spending some time sort of running through is what is never going to come back from this crisis. So what industry? For industry is one example, but there are other things. So for example, I would take a very good example would be office space. As a result of this crisis, this catastrophe.
No, that's coming back. That's definitely coming back.
I don't believe it. I think office space is finished. So I don't think there'll be the same demand ever again for office space. That's just a viewpoint. But I think there are others that are probably more nuanced and more interesting. and I'm curious if you have any ideas in your mind, other than, I mean, and then of course, my extension from that, you know, what's going to come out of this that wasn't around before, you know, what's going to be new and exciting. So I'm just wondering, what do you guys think is going to die off from, what do you think the coronavirus is actually going to kill off? So, yeah, throw it out there.
Short term and long term, isn't it? You know, it's like in the short term, it seems like nothing can ever be the same again.
Right.
So all the things that you think of that involve more than 3 people in a room, you think, how are they going to allow that? So theatres, cinemas, restaurants, you know, I worry about my son dating.
Just you know, generally.
If he's 15 years old, getting on for 16, and that's actually a good time to be going out and meeting girls and just having friends and discovering, you know, going into town and hanging out with mates. But now he's in his room.
Yeah. But it was kind of going, in some respects, it was going that way anyway, wasn't it? I mean, people, thanks to social media, it's all about like a, you know, chatting
there will be
online.
A point when people just have the desire to see people, you know. You know, the streets were crowded with people, and people were still hanging out. Lots of people were hanging out. But it's actually, you know, where are people going to meet other people?
Well, people do it online. I mean, frankly, that is the younger generation's way of dating now. I mean, a lot of this stuff for me is, it's just fast tracking what was already happening. You know, Amazon was already killing the high street. It's just speeding it up. You know.
No, and that's exactly right. I mean, look, in 2007, I was in the publishing industry. The publishing industry was killed.
I remember, George. We were there together, my friend.
We were there together, but the global financial crisis killed the publishing industry in Hong Kong anyway. And I think you know, there were a few outliers, but those that didn't make the jump to online fast enough and didn't have the cash, yeah, they just went under. And the publishing company,
But having said that, George, you know, some, like for example, The Economist, you know, their subscription numbers are up, and you know, there's always a market still for a publishing business, although, you know, things evolve. It's just like, even MySpace died, and it was in the right place at the right time with the right thing, but it can die, and Facebook comes along and replaces it. That's kind of evolution, isn't it? Just general evolution.
That's exactly right. So, you know, if you're saying that, it is true. I can't remember what I was saying.
It's a great question though, because I think that, you know, I remember in Hong Kong when SARS hit, there was a similar sentiment around things like going to the office and these sorts of things. It all seemed like a waste of time. But I think actually what will happen when this hopefully dies down a little bit is actually people miss it. I mean, working from home, I don't think many people are really set up for it. You know, like, it's just not convenient. And actually, there's something nice about, I mean, I think co-working will continue to be very popular. I think crowding all in the same office together, maybe not so much. But I do think co-working will continue to be, I think people need somewhere to go. Coffee shops, you know, people don't want to sit at home all day. More than ever when this is over. And I think, but fresh air, space, environments, you know, maybe an open air co-working space, for example. You know, I think schools, like I'm just looking at a school right now that, you know, basically, and we're saying, you know what, maybe I don't need to go all the way to Germany to do my horticultural training course. Maybe I can do it online, and maybe people will be, you know, fine with that. But I think some industries are going to suffer forever, and some industries are going to suffer short term. Like, for example, I think airlines, they're going to suffer for 6 months, maybe longer. People just aren't going to travel as much. No one wants to get on a plane and be stuck on the plane for 12 hours with loads of sick people. So I think there might...
So you could never have a conversation saying, learn that because it's interesting to learn it, or learn it because it's fascinating or useful. It's not in the slightest bit useful. It was purely designed to...
And the new generation coming through were already online savvy and native digital folks. But I think what's going to happen now, you know, if you look in America, 22 million people unemployed. Most of those people can't get a job. So the nurseries that my son goes to, now every morning they do a broadcast with a story time, you know. And so they're not monetizing it yet, they're not quite sure, you know, but they're just there trying out technology for the first time, as opposed to like being in a classroom all day, which is what they were doing before. Now they've got a bit of time, they're starting to innovate. And I think that's going to happen, you know, times 10,000. You know, maybe millions of people are going to be trying to start a business online and starting, you know, groups and starting communities and starting businesses. Some good, some bad, of course, but that's going to be the new trend. And I think it's exciting. I find that bit exciting because I like the idea that people don't just get a job because it's easy or go to school because it's easy. Now they've got to really think about what it is they're actually going to do.
But you know, going back to Nigel's comment about, you know, his son, you know, he's taking somebody who's and you as well. You're both taking people who are very young, who are not really so much at risk in terms of health relative to people who have immune systems that are compromised and the elderly. And I think when I say that, you know, what is going to change fundamentally for some people is that there are going to be people for whom this is now a very long-term issue. It's not a flash in the pan, you know, industry coming back in 3 months kind of thing. It's long. So just as a sort of as a comparison there, I think that's something to really think about. Now, these are many of these people are people that would take plane rides, for example, or have, you know, have particular roles in the economy that they just simply will not be able to re-engage with for quite some time. I think that's something to think about.
Yeah. This is actually going to end now, guys. So it was just a little test. So it was nice to connect.
Just a test.
You did, and thank you for joining, guys. It's nice to connect to you both. And actually, I've missed catching up with both of you. I see you more, George, than I see Nigel recently. But Nigel, I've missed catching up with you.
So yeah, we will do soon.
Nice to touch with. I think. Bye. There we go. That's the end of my broadcast today, folks. And